And once again, soft touch Britain does it again. Yes, we're so good at this, aren't we? 2/3 of asylum seekers who have been electronically tagged, we now have no record of. We've literally no idea where they are at all. They've disappeared. They're no doubt working in the illegal economy somewhere. Just at every level. Now, we're told that many of those that cut their tags off over this time period have come from Albania, but I don't see the relevance of that, where they've come from. I mean, Robert Buckland, you know that people crossing the channel, these young men, the way we deal with it or don't deal with it, when you go on to stories like this, hurt your party politically at the last election enormously.
Yeah.
The majority of decent people are just enraged by this.
And so am I, because we're facing this tide of economic migrancy that's coming to us from other parts of Europe.
So you don't think they're refugees, genuine refugees?
I think a lot of them are not, and that's the thing. They are, some of them are definitely the victims of criminality. There's no doubt about that.
What you mean they're being trafficked?
Yeah, some of them are. I think we use the word trafficking sometimes wrongly, because trafficking is coercion. Smuggling is a different thing. They're not being coerced. They're paying very often. They're paying a lot of money to do this. So you've got to ask the question, well, how does that happen? But, when it comes to this particular pilot, I think it was a while ago. And the interesting thing was apparently those who weren't being tagged seemed to be more compliant. I mean, look, I've did a lot of work on tagging of criminals, which had a big effect. We did these alcohol tags that have worked brilliantly. There was like a 95% compliance rate, which was good, because it meant fewer reoffending and fewer crime, less crime.
So you're saying that tagging can work?
Oh, definitely. And, when I was Justice Secretary, we scaled it up quite considerably, because we thought it was a very good way to keep a very close eye on people who otherwise were going to be, reoffending.
But this is just complete abuse, isn't it?
Look, this is abuse. I think that the truth is that when it comes to, how we deal with this, the country-by-country deals are important. I think the evidence was, when we did the deal with Albania, that the numbers did start to come down quite considerably in terms of young men.
Afghanistan
coming to the UK
and Iraq are among the top 3 countries of those coming in via the small boats, and we don't return anybody to Afghanistan or Iraq.
Keir Starmer has had a meeting today, or was having a meeting today with somebody from Iraq to talk about a possible deal on returns.
Well, that's what we need, because
Syria is still on the list where we can't send people back to.
No,
why not?
But at the moment...
But, Joe, can't you see these people are dangerous.
Well, hang on a second.
If these people are cutting off their tags and disappearing, they are going into criminality.
Well, maybe. There's no
But why
proof
not?
of that.
Where else are they going?
Well, there's 1,000 people. It's a very small pilot. The idea that they can cut off the tags as though they're sort of labels from a shop makes you think, what sort of tags are they using?
Well, exactly.
You're saying the sobriety tags, as they're called, work.
Which is interesting.
Which is interesting.
Yeah,
so clearly there is a technology there.
Yeah.
But if they're able to cut them off with a pair of kitchen scissors, then the tags need upgrading.
Correct.
There is a question here about, I know we can talk about immigration until the cows come home, go back out again for morning milking, but actually this is about the incompetence of the Ministry of Justice or the Home Office for what are they doing? But that's presumably why they had a pilot.
But it's because we're not recognising
yes, I know, Nigel,
that so many of these young men actually pose a threat to us and are coming in for bad reasons.
But some of them are, but not all of them are. And the problem is that the debate gets taken away by people who will use it to their own ends, not least of all,
All right. Well, I tell you what. Let's continue this debate with a similar theme. This is my What the Farage moment of the day. So, a migrant comes into Britain from Jamaica. He rapes a sleeping woman. He says he didn't know having sex with a woman who was asleep was wrong. He gets a prison sentence. He comes out. He's granted anonymity. We want to deport him back to Jamaica, but we can't, because he says that he's bisexual and he'll get beaten up, and it's against his human rights. What about the human rights of our people?
Well, I agree, Nigel, and this is why...
Well, but you agree? You're a supporter of all this nonsense.
No, because that is one case report. First of all, with regard to those rights to family life, they're qualified rights. You know, they're not absolute. If there's a threat to our national security or our safety, we can disapply that. And clearly, where you've got somebody with a serious conviction...
Why do British judges not disapply?
Well, look...
And you know they don't.
Look, each case falls on its own facts, and no doubt this case will be appealed. I think if the Home Office are doing their job, they should be appealing the case, because this is a guy with a rape conviction. Now, we've got the freedom now, you know, with Brexit, to send people back, particularly, you know, to other parts of the world, because they have previous criminal convictions.
Robert, you say that. But actually, is Brexit complete all the while that court in Strasbourg still has a say?
Oh, look, Nigel, you're comparing apples and pears. The idea that the court in Strasbourg was anything like the Luxembourg court, that had that absolute power over EU laws that applied in the UK, is wrong. You know, the times that we are engaged with the Strasbourg court are vanishingly small. You know, the number of times we were found in breach last year was twice.
Yeah, but Robert, the convention. But the convention is in British law. Joe, I mean, you're a supporter of the ECHR as well, but can you not see
but
why?
that is absolutely outrageous.
But this is what the guy claims.
Well,
it's against his human rights.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would be against the human rights of the woman he raped.
Well, you'd have thought so, wouldn't you?
You know,
so what do we do?
Well, what I mean,
because I mean, Robert, you know, I respect him as a lawyer, but the fact is, all the while that convention is written into British law, judges lean on it.
But what you're saying, Robert, is that the Home Office could appeal against it.
Of course they can.
So that's the question.
And it's all about the evidence. You know, is it a genuine case? He says he's of sexuality. Is that right? I mean, even the report said that
but we're getting more and more people crossing the channel saying, I can't be sent here because I'm gay.
I know.
And there are 120 countries in the world where homosexuality is frowned upon.
Yes, there are. But you've got to ask yourselves, you know, is this problem particularly, you know, because of the European Convention? There are other European countries that are merrily deporting people without worrying about this sort of thing.
I know.
And therefore, what's the problem?
Why is Strasbourg the source of the problem? We are a rule-obeying country, and we've written this convention into British law.
Now, there are things that I think we could do with the Human Rights Act, which, of course, the Labour government brought in back in...
amendments?
Yes, I do. I think we can make it much clearer that we don't have to be slavish in our adherence to European convention law, and that there's a wide discretion for our judges and our courts to do things in the way that we always have without worrying about the convention. You should be hardly ever engaged. And that's why, you know, with the greatest respect in the world, Nigel, it's a red herring. Stop talking about a red herring.
I don't believe it for a moment. I have to say, I just think the British judiciary is of that mindset where they will always apply the convention. Now, I do have a Home Office statement somewhere to read out, if somebody will put it on my screen for me, because I have to do this, otherwise I get in trouble, and I'm always in trouble anyway.
And will they say
so the response to this story is... A Home Office spokesman said, this pilot scheme, this is about the tagging, conducted under the previous government, sought to explore the impact of electronic monitoring on compliance rates. But the evaluation report notes that its findings cannot be applied to the asylum seeker cohort as a whole, given the scheme's heavy concentration on Albanian nationals. Nevertheless, what a load of nonsense, the evaluation report has been published in the interest of transparency, given the public funds spent on running the pilot scheme. This government is determined to restore order to the asylum system so that it operates swiftly, firmly and fairly. Well, you can believe that if you want to. Why should we have any confidence? Why should Joe Public have any confidence that anybody, either Labour or Conservative, is actually going to get any control over the asylum system?
Or you, Nigel.
Well, it could be.
Talk, but
do you see why people have got no confidence?
I agree, but it's up to people like you and all of us to come up with a plan, and the only way we'll do that is, guess what? A bit of international cooperation. Dare I say, sharing power.
No. What the pro-Europeans. I'm surrounded by Remainers.
Yes.
Nigel, that's your role.
And this is the pub debate, and that's what we do on this show. There's no need to go down the pub, because you get that debate here.